Yo, what's up, my dude?
What is up, my man? We back. We're here. We're here for a little bit of Pixelists podcast. Talking some what if today. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Blake.
That's Blake. I'm Will. Hello.
And we're your Pixelist hosts. You are also part of the Pixelist family, part of the Pixelist journey. And we like to get together and talk about our favorite movies, shows, and one-day games on the podcast. And we've been talking about all things Marvel, which, by the way, we need to get a Shang-Chi video up.
That's
that
true.
Movie was awesome.
Shang-Chi, okay?
Sean, which was a great bit and reminded me of Britt.
Yeah.
My name is Britt. I'm Flight of the Conchords. But we're talking today about What If, the animated series on Disney Plus. And it is basically the show that has followed the opening of the multiverse. And today we're going to be talking about episode 5, What If Zombies. So, Will, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I got my coffee here, so I'm ready to go. How about yourself?
You're rocking an iced coffee, it looks like.
Yeah, I actually got this yesterday and then didn't get the chance to drink it. Trying out a new spot, Base Camp. Have you been there?
Base Camp.
It's on College.
Where's that at? Oh yeah, it's what Mama Carmen's used to be.
Yeah.
Anyone who's not local is like, what is going on?
What are they talking about? Yeah, first time ever going there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, okay. This episode's brought to you by Base Camp Coffee.
Well, we wish.
You're a bold man having your coffee the next day.
I don't usually do that. It was kind of a fluke thing, but
I kind of feel like once my coffee's brewed, I have like 8 minutes to drink it.
Yeah,
that's I drink my coffee too fast.
This is cold brew, so it it's kind of supposed to sit, but it wasn't like a fresh brewed of hot pot.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Now, are you more of a enjoy your coffee flavor or more of a give it to me black? I just want the caffeine.
I'm a black coffee drinker, but that mainly stemmed from like trying to be healthier and cut down on calories. But now that makes sense. I did that like 2 years ago, so now that's all I do. It tastes too sweet to me now. I'm one of those people that's like, only black.
Are you a coffee gatekeeper? Like if someone, okay, those people are the worst.
Agreed.
If you're out there, we don't want you to watch this.
That's right. You snob.
All right, well let's talk about the show, episode 5, What If. You and I have really loved this series. Hopefully, viewers, listeners, you guys have hopefully enjoyed it as well. Let's talk first impressions. So, Will, what did you think about this episode?
Thought it was awesome, man. I don't know if I'm ready to say that it was like my favorite yet, but I do still think that like they've had a nice arc of like keeping it getting better. Like again, without saying that. I still think the Doctor Strange episode is probably my favorite so far, but it seems like they keep surprising me, keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting, and like you've kind of pointed out, they keep getting dark, like darker and darker almost.
Yeah. This is definitely not a feel good show.
No, the first episode tricked us.
First episode was very campy, like this is kind of cool, and yeah, ever since then, things have gone not downhill in quality, but downhill for the fate of the universe.
Yeah, but I liked it. What about you?
Will. Sorry to say, this was one of my least favorite episodes.
Really?
I thought this was one of the weakest episodes of the show. I didn't think the writing was very good, and it felt it just didn't feel as compelling as the Doctor Strange episode was very moving. I mean, the theme of the episode, the takeaways from the episode. I mean, the episode ends and you're kind of just sit there like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't really have that sense of this episode. Was it a fun episode? It was. I enjoyed that it, kind of showcased some characters who don't get as much screen time. But Yeah, I didn't like it. We can talk more about it in the episode today. Um, but
Interesting.
sorry to say that I didn't love it.
Okay, I'm surprised to hear that, but all right, that's
Yeah.
fair. But yeah, I guess let's just jump into it, and I'll give a quick recap to start us off here. Wait, hold on. I wrote something down. Okay, yeah. So essentially, what if zombies? So this episode is basically just that. It's slightly based on the Marvel Zombies run of comics, which Robert Kirkman, the creator of Walking Dead, did. Which that's actually something I never put together.
I
That
did not know
which
that.
makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna have a guy write your Marvel Zombies, why not get the the
Now, did
hot
he
guy at the
do?
time?
So he did Walking Dead before, or did he do
Yes,
it after?
I think
Okay,
he did Walking Dead first, and then this.
that's really
And
cool though.
Walking Dead might have even like still been happening
Yeah.
at the time that he did this
Yeah.
as
Okay.
well. So loosely based on that, and we basically just pick up right where the moment of Hulk from Infinity War getting sent via the Bifrost from Heimdall off of Thor's ship to Earth to
Mhm.
warn them that like Thanos is coming, and so that's where the episode starts. But he gets there and everything's already different because in the movie, Doctor Strange and Wong are there to like be like, "Yo," and the events of Infinity War happen. Here, no one's in the Sanctum Sanctorum except the Cloak of Levitation, and Bruce walks outside and is like, "Am I too late? What's happening here?" And Cull Obsidian and Ebony Maw, the children of Thanos, zoom down and do their same little speech from Infinity War, but they get interrupted by Tony Stark, Stephen Strange, and Wong, who are zombies, and they basically get in a big fight. And the revelation being that this version of Earth has a zombie apocalypse happening. So they fight. There's a fight happening, but Bruce, he doesn't turn into Hulk because he's having the same performance anxiety that we saw in Infinity War. But he gets saved by Hope Van Dyne and Spider-Man. And basically, we're introduced to this ragtag team that has survived the zombie apocalypse. And it consists of, well, now Bruce Banner, Spider-Man, Wasp, Happy Hogan, Kurt from the Ant-Man movies, from the little agency that they had,
Yeah.
Bucky, Okoye, and Sharon Carter. And I believe that's all of them. And they've kind of got this makeshift little base set up via Spider-Man's webs, and they rescue Bruce, fill him in, and they're like, "Yeah, zombies happened. We're not really sure what's going on." But the long and the short of it is, they find this signal, and they're like, "This is our best hope. Like, let's see what's at this signal." Oh yeah, and Okoye is there because she's looking for T'Challa. Um, they go trace down the signal. Zombie hijinks ensue on the way. It turns out it's Vision in the Mind Stone. He's putting out this signal, and come to find out, Vision is actually luring people here because he is feeding zombie Scarlet Witch because he,
Mhm.
loves her and wants to keep her alive, and also thinks that kind of containing her in this way is better than letting a zombie Scarlet Witch out on the loose. And he actually has T'Challa as a prisoner and has been seemingly feeding parts of him to her. So it's pretty dark. He also, though, has maybe figured out a cure for this because he has Ant-Man's head in a Futurama-esque jar
Yeah.
that he has managed to salvage. And oh yeah, this I probably should have mentioned this. The zombie outbreak began because of Hank Pym going to save uh, Janet Van Dyne, his wife and
Mhm.
Hope's mom, from the quantum realm, and she was a zombie, and so she infected him. They pop out of the zombie realm and infect everyone. Because the thing about the zombie virus is they seemingly retain their mental faculties. Like they all can still use their powers, the zombie versions, yada yada yada. So anyway, Vision maybe has a cure, has something to do with the Mind Stone. Um, Scarlet Witch breaks out, kind of fight ensues. Hulk kind of sacrifices himself so that everyone else can get away. Vision kind of realizes what he's done and pops out his own gem, kind of as a like final act of atonement in a way. And essentially, the episode ends with only Black Panther, the head of Scott Lang, and Spider Man flying away on this ship to figure out what's next. And we get this little teaser of a zombified Thanos, full Infinity Gauntlet, sans the Mind Stone, which the three heroes I just mentioned are in possession of after Vision ripped it out of his head. And that's how the episode ends. pretty
Now, was
bleak.
Thanos, was he appearing in Wakanda
Yeah,
or?
see, I think so, but I don't really know what the implication of that would be since the Mind Stone's not there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're heading to Wakanda because Okoye had mentioned that, Wakanda is kind of like the last bastion of safety. And
So maybe there had been like a time jump and like they were there and the Mind Stone was there.
yeah, and kind of the implication I got was even more to like, the bleakness of the episode was that they were coincidentally bringing the Mind Stone straight to
Right to him.
Thanos. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know where we want to jump in here. I'm especially, I mean, not that you have any more to say on why you didn't like it, but I'm especially interested to hear your thoughts since it wasn't your favorite. But I mean, while we're right here, how do you think the fact that Thanos is a zombie, the whole universe is basically screwed, right? Like,
Right.
so I'm
It's
wondering
over.
how seemingly it was contained to Earth, but maybe the fact that Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian got infected, but did they get like eaten by
Yeah.
wasps?
Yeah, they were killed by Hope and her and Army, who basically disintegrated
Yeah, which
all of them, which was awesome.
what a powerful thing though. Like,
Yeah.
how did they not defeat the zombies? Can't she just sick those wasps on everybody?
Why didn't they do that in any other movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because I originally had wondered if the Maw had like maybe gone back to Thanos' ship and not knowing that he was infected, but yeah,
Yeah.
they all got disintegrated.
Okay, yeah. Because that's what I
And
thought too, but good point.
the timing of it's pretty interesting because we know that someone can get infected and pretty much immediately turn,
Hmm.
with the exception of Hope Van Dyne, um, because of plot, I guess.
Right.
And so I mean, I guess he could have gotten infected right when he landed, but then again, doesn't Thanos, as he's a Titan, um, isn't his skin like super tough or
Yeah,
thick or
that was
so unless
another
he has
thing I
something to
wondered.
bite him, I don't know.
Because how if Hulk was
Right.
impenetrable to it, then why wouldn't Thanos be? But I don't know. I guess we don't. Maybe Hulk eventually does succumb. We don't really find out what happens to him either.
Well, you do wonder also what's going on with the Guardians of the Galaxy and
Hmm.
Thor
Yeah.
specifically.
Do
Are
they? I mean,
they
seemingly they still run into each other, right? Because we know the events of at least Banner getting sent because of what happens with Thor was the same. So seemingly Thor still crashes into the Guardians ship, and I don't know. I feel like Thor would be a hard one to take down, like as far as zombies go. So
Well, apparently if Hank Pym can just turn into Ant-Man and just, boop, like on your neck.
yeah,
I don't know. It feels like that's the level of power there. I almost wonder who would even be safe. I'm actually surprised that these side characters have made it as long as they have, considering like the
yeah,
main characters were pretty much immediately dealt with.
yeah, for real. And that one scene with the Avengers was pretty bleak, where just instantly basically taken out. Except I guess T'Challa manages to somehow escape that one scene that we see with like all with the Ant Man and all of them getting taken down. But yeah, I wonder. So since it wasn't the Maw, and not that this is really important, and we should spend too much time on it, but I wonder where Thanos got infected, and is the infection already bigger than Earth? Like, because Thanos doesn't come to Earth really ever in the original timeline, right? Just an in game that like time travel version of him does.
Well, he comes to Earth to Wakanda to get the Time Stone from Vision,
Oh right, yeah, you're right. But seemingly he was already a zombie, right?
or
So
the Mind Stone. Excuse me.
you're right. I completely forgot about that somehow. But
What I don't get is where did he get the Time Stone?
yeah, that's true. Because Doctor
Because
Strange still had it seemingly
yeah,
around his neck.
yeah,
So I mean,
he
maybe
got
he just
disintegrated.
went and found it. I guess on Earth. I don't know. That's a good point.
More importantly, why didn't Stephen Strange, like as he was getting infected, do a little boop 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 boop, and rewind time?
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Is
Maybe
it
he.
sleeping? I mean, so this is where we're getting into my frustrations with the episode. Is I'd call this the episode of plot holes because a lot of things just didn't make sense to me. We've had every other episode's been pretty clean. This one, I was kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Like, let's talk about the buses that are levitating in the air. We know that like their little base, which was kind of a really cool flavor.
Hmm.
And Spider-Man was definitely the strongest, I think, character in this episode. I loved his campy, how to survive a zombie
Yeah, it
apocalypse.
reminded me of Zombieland.
I think that's exactly what I was going to say. It
Yeah.
reminds me of Zombieland of like, here's the rules.
Right.
But we already know the main danger are the Marvel zombies, basically the Marvel superhero zombies.
Right.
Which, I mean, what's keeping Iron Man or Falcon or whoever from just flying up?
I thought the same
So
thing.
I'm like, how good is this thing? How effective is this? But I don't know.
And also, just like we already talked about it, but the fact that Hope Wasp was able to just defeat Iron Man and Stephen Strange, not to mention Ebony Maw, which are like three of the most powerful people really in the whole Marvel universe. Like this, like it's like, okay, well, what really threat is there if you can just take those out, those three like gods out all at once? Like, just get those wasps back in here and let's clean this up.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be remiss like to complain about how realistic the show was, considering.
Yeah, that's fair.
but I mean, that is basically what I was thinking. Was like, come on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Spider-Man was great. Like I said, I loved the rules of how to survive, very Zombieland-esque. And and I liked. It's interesting. Spider-Man even has like this little monologue about Uncle Ben dying and all these things he's been through, and how Aunt May, who's implied to, I guess, be gone as well, since he says she always says or used to say something about hope, basically.
Yeah.
Which is a nice
smiling.
Yeah, that's right. Which is a nice little anchor point, I guess, for the episode, despite the fact that presumably everyone's doomed.
Right. Which I think that was the first mention of Ben in the MCU. I could be wrong, but they kind of like glossed over that in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movies just because they didn't want to repeat the same story notes that the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies had. So it was interesting to finally hear that like name mentioned.
And it's one of the reasons I think that why Spider-Man was so well received is it was Spider-Man at its core, but it wasn't the same old like, okay, here's another origin story. We've seen like two other versions of this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was interesting to hear Uncle Ben mentioned, especially when he hasn't been mentioned whatsoever in any of Tom Holland's movies.
Yeah, and it was interesting that I don't remember who it was, so my apologies, but basically everyone was the same voice except for Spider-Man. It was not Tom Holland for this, but the guy sounded like him.
Yeah, he sounded pretty good.
So I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this in all the episodes that don't have the actors returning. We don't really know what the situation was there, scheduling or whatever. But what a cool like squad of like people to bring together. The one that really is weird to me is Kurt, though, the guy from Ant-Man. Like, how did he?
Yeah,
maybe through hope, I guess, got connected.
Well, my
with
wife
these
was like, "Who is he again?" And I was like, "He's one of like the thieves from Ant-Man. He's." I was like, not the one who says like who tells like the story. So then this happened.
Yeah.
But the tall guy, and she's like, oh yeah. So yeah, it was a nice little band of misfits, I guess.
Yeah.
Which was, like I said, it's one of the highlights of the episode for me was like seeing all these characters together. But again, like in my head canon, trying to legitimize that these people have all somehow made it as long as they have compared to the core Avengers. And it's interesting because in some ways it's what makes the episode interesting.
Right.
Like seeing Iron Man fighting or Captain America fighting like the zombie horde is, I guess, a bit predictable. So having like these side characters does put a nice little spin on it.
Yeah.
But like I mentioned, headcanon wise, I was like, okay, how are these people? And like Happy in particular was I guess another issue I had with it was they were pretty. Maybe this was like the big brain from Kevin Feige, in that in zombie movies, there's always like the really stupid people.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like they were very stupid about some things, like very casual, like everyone's dead. Like all the main superheroes are dead. And, Happy's kind of like this gregarious, like, haha, boom, boom, pew, pew, which was really fun flavor. But also I'm like, there's like these people have no sense of danger, which is interesting considering how all of them get picked off in like the next 10 minutes of that episode.
Yeah,
Um,
it was interesting, and I feel like it was kind of meta, so I kind of give him a little leniency with that since well, it wasn't Tom Holland. I don't know why I was going to say Tom, but since Peter Parker Spider-Man was like, have none of you guys seen a horror movie? Like, we can't split up. Um, so like, and I guess maybe like in this universe, like maybe zombie fiction doesn't exist. So like people are like, I mean, that's kind of like the excuse you can kind of give in horror movies that like, oh, serial killer movies don't exist, so they've never like they fall into these dumb tropes because they're not familiar with them type of thing.
it's what made Scream so interesting
Yeah,
was they actually call out the different cliches and
right.
tropes
Yeah,
and write it into the story, which was
yes.
interesting.
Very that screams very meta, which is cool. Which so
Yeah.
reminds me of Community, the
Oh yeah.
great show.
Fantastic show. Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, I mean, they were kind of lackadaisical almost in a way, and so I don't know if that was just trying to like hit, some humor in this dark setting or what. But I mean, I don't penalize them too much for that because at least they did have Spider-Man kind of calling it out.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's kind of like I think if you approach the episode from like a stupid fun perspective, like everyone's just knowing everyone's pretty much doomed from the start,
yeah,
but we're gonna enjoy the journey along the way. Because nothing is the tone of the episode is never really all that serious. Like when Falcon gets the zombie Falcon gets killed, and I think it's Okoye or maybe it was Sharon Carter says to
oh
Bucky,
yeah,
like, "I'm sorry, I know he was your friend." He's like, "I know I should be sad, but I'm not."
yeah, which is interesting because that would have been he the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier have not happened in that universe, so they never really like became actual friends. They always kind of
Right.
had that like I hate you vibe. So I liked kind of the callback to that, like that's how their relationship kind of was still.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was fun flavor for sure.
But just super interesting that these zombies have like they're different from the typical zombies in that they still have intelligence at least in some form, which is kind of like it's slightly even different from the comics that which we talked about at the beginning here that Robert Kirkman did. In that they basically were like they had all like full mental faculties, but just also had this like insatiable hunger for like
Like kind of
must
like
eat
I Am
flesh.
Legend, almost like the
Um,
vampires.
yeah, but almost even more human. Like basically,
Yeah.
like I'm a zombie right now, and I'm still me. Hello, but like I have like my number one priority is I must have flesh,
So
basically.
less Walking Dead, more Twilight
Yeah,
esque.
yeah. And
So
what's interesting, and I'm sorry for jumping around here. You feel free to direct me. Um, but thinking about the comics, there's an interesting parallel with T'Challa because we had and this Vision has him prisoner and he's missing a leg. In the comics, it was Hank Pym who like is a zombie, but he's like fully capable and he's just like slowly like cutting off pieces of T'Challa to like eat and sustain himself. It's really dark.
oh, it's
Um,
like Hannibal Lecter esque.
yeah, yeah, and
Wow.
anyway, what I'm getting to here is that it wasn't Hank Pym in this case, but Hank Pym kind of was the reason for all of this since he, went and got Janet. So that's now two universes really that Hank Pym's kind of screwed up because, the murder episode where he killed everyone and then this one he kind of doomed the universe too. But interesting that like what do you think infected Janet? Because we know in our MCU she was in the quantum realm for 20 years and she wasn't zombie. So to me that almost seems like someone this was orchestrated. Like perhaps she
Oh,
was like
interesting.
specifically infected in order to set off this chain of events.
I mean, who knows that she's in the quantum realm?
What do you
Because isn't
mean?
she assumed? Like, how would this be intentionally designed? Because
Oh,
isn't she assumed deceased by the
right, like
community at
who would
large?
know that she was there, you mean?
Yeah, yeah. To even orchestrate it,
Maybe Kang?
may be
I mean, because
Kang.
his kingdom might,
Ooh,
that how like people think that his kingdom.
okay.
Have you
That's
seen
a
that screenshot of like?
no,
Oh, you haven't, bro? Okay, there's a
no.
shot in it's either Ant-Man 1 or Ant-Man 2, but when they're in the quantum realm, in the background there's a shot that like it looks like a miniature like
It looks like a
city.
city.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
some people
Okay.
think
Yeah.
that might be Kang's like city.
Okay. I really like this theory. This is interesting.
And
Yeah.
so,
I think people were casually calling it the quantum virus because it's a virus that originated in the quantum realm.
mhm,
So whether it's coincidental that she came across it or it was intentional, I think my gut sense resisting the temptation to Mephisto is coincidentality. I don't know, coincidence. But I really prefer your theory on because it kind of makes sense, right? Is that we know that Kang specifically is going to eliminate other Kangs, but also I guess it's going to be interesting to see if one of the Kangs comes up with just the timeline cleaving. Because we know the Kang who knows how to do that is now dead. Will there be
right.
other Kangs who can, rather than like planning up this really elaborate, unleashing of a virus? Will there be a Kang who just comes up with or I guess comes across who's the beast from Loki?
Eliath.
Eliath comes across Eliath, and because I think in the show they said he discovered him and used his properties to create like the timeline cleaving vials or what have you.
Mm,
It'll be interesting if we get to that point at some
yeah.
point.
Yeah, so I mean that's just one random possibility that I know some people
I
have
like that though.
have thought of, that especially since there's that added connection of maybe his kingdom is in the quantum realm. But maybe it's just anyone with like that level of power that, for whatever reason, maybe even to ultimately get to Thanos, um, and prevent the snap, or, who knows what, maybe to destroy the universe, I don't know.
It,
Um,
it it is interesting though how many of these universes. I say how many. It's pretty much all we've seen so far. Left to it, I mean, right now we're talking about the implication of maybe Kang being involved, but assuming that's not the case, it's interesting how many universes left to their own devices head to eventual destruction.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of them, assuming we can take except for episode 1, all of them, if we're to take the what's his name, the ego, like post credit scene to basically mean the universe is over, then all of them except episode 1.
Yeah, 4 out of 5. The odds are not good. I
Yeah,
think we're due for a happy episode, but I don't know.
and we've kind of talked about this a little bit with these other episodes in terms of like continuity. Will we revisit any of this? I feel like this episode is like primed for a revisit because like I don't know, especially with that Thanos tease, but maybe it's just as similar to the ego tease, just like, yep, this universe is doomed too. But like, I know it wasn't your favorite, but I would love to see a part 2 because I don't know, I want to see like,
What's there to revisit? Everyone's dead.
well, they still have the
What else
Mind
do you need?
Stone. The Mind Stone could be a cure. What's Zombie Thanos gonna do? Like,
I
what
don't
is he
know.
gonna do? Like,
I feel like the Watcher keeps giving us like those final taglines where he basically says, "And doomed the universe." And I feel
yeah.
like we got something like that at the end of this last
I mean,
episode.
you're right. I feel like the chances are we don't get a part 2, but I'm just saying I would enjoy one.
Speaking of the Watcher, though, did you notice how the shot with him, he was fully fully formed, I guess, in the sense of it wasn't his silhouette, it was his
Right.
actual character looking over the city.
Yeah,
So
he's been like getting more and more corporeal, it seems.
we've talked about this last episode on they seem to be humanizing him more and more, and we talked about this is my big prediction, in case it doesn't happen, so you're not stuck with me on this. My big prediction, I know we both talked about this, was maybe a setup for the finale of him actually getting
Like
involved and
intervening,
actually
yeah.
intervening, and because we are seeing his emotionality more and more demonstrated. He's becoming seemingly more empathetic, or more. In this episode, he didn't really have much dialogue, but being more corporeal to me is like more humanistic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm hanging my hat on right now.
No, I
Is
agree. I'll
we're gonna
join
keep seeing
you.
that happen.
I'll throw my hat with you because I agree. And like you said, kind of thematically, they're making him get closer and closer and more physical, corporeal, like seemingly building to something. Um, and another little, not that this is related, but another little interesting tidbit is that from the Marvel comics, the outbreak started in the universe that comic series takes place in, like that version of the universe. The zombies come because the Watcher from another universe like transports Zombie Sentry, who's like a Superman kind of the MCU, into this universe. So like the Watcher like caused it. So the Watcher intervened in a way in that story. So maybe it's kind of like a little subtle Easter egg or clue that like Watchers
Mm.
can intervene, and maybe like we're building to that.
Was this Watcher evil in the comics?
See, I haven't like read the full run or anything, but I think it was like some sort of play to like cause like an infinite like causal loop so that the zombie outbreak would only remain in these two universes, like the one where it started and the one he sent it to, and then it's like a like a
Mm.
time paradox or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
That might be complete BS, but that's from the little I know, that's what I gleaned.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
But
It would be interesting to consider to see the Watcher's motivations fleshed out. Because like I said, we talked about it. I mean, right now presented as totally neutral. It'll be interesting if he slants towards good, but also hearing that story you just mentioned, I wonder if there are Watchers out there who slant towards more nefarious things.
yeah,
I don't know.
and while we're on Watcher talk right now, it seems like that there is one Watcher like per multiverse, I guess is the better way to say it, because we've seen this same one in all 5 episodes so far. So seemingly this same Watcher is the Watcher for like the cinematic universe too, right?
Yeah.
So
Because I mean, it could be he's responsible for like universes 70 through 500. I don't
yeah,
know. But going back to that scene from Loki, the finale, where the intro, it seems like you see them all layered and stacked on top of each other. And then it
uh-huh,
zooms out as like this sort of large, like the multiverse all fits in this ball, so to speak. And
mm-hmm.
then we zoom into another universe ball
Yeah,
or whatever nearby, which seemed to have another stack
right.
of, yeah, it's very confusing. It's Inception of universes.
So my I don't know if this is a question or not, but what I'm building toward is that so this Watcher, would he have had some contact with Kang? Because if the Watcher is in charge of all these universes that we're seeing, surely he would have like taken notice of someone like cleaving that down from like an infinite number to the sacred timeline to however many that may be. So like I wonder if they like had any type of relationship or anything. Cause it just would seem weird to like, if he's the Watcher for all these universes, a moment happens where he's like they just infinitely multiplied. Like it seems like would he? I mean, he's not supposed to intervene, so maybe he just didn't intervene. But it seems like he would have to like I don't know. It feels like Kang was on that level where maybe he would have like interacted with him due to what Kang was doing. I don't know if I'm even making sense, but
No, I mean, yeah, totally. I think it's part of me wonders, like, I'm getting like a headache just trying to think about this. Part of me wonders what Marvel will do with it, honestly,
yeah,
in that they're going to do their creative spin on it. It does make you wonder. It seems like the Watchers exist outside of time. So, like, they've seen all these universes come and go. We've seen it cleave. I mean, presumably, we've seen them cleave down to the single sacred timeline, which isn't a single timeline. It's almost like a cord of time threads that are
yeah,
very similar and interwoven, but give us the same destination, so to speak.
yeah,
And then now they've seen, after the events of Loki, all these universes grow and infinitely spread out, where they even know the outcomes of those universes. So it is very interesting to see. It will be interesting to see what Marvel does to keep this neat and tidy. And I mean, presumably they've seen multiple versions of Kang come and go.
yeah.
why would this be any different? Or maybe the Watchers in the cinematic universe were put into place after the sacred timeline was established, maybe by Kang or someone else, to basically say, hey, whatever the chaos was before, we want to basically make sure it doesn't happen again. I don't know. I have no idea. But like I said, I get a headache when I try to process it all.
Well, I can't wait to see like where this goes, because I mean, and we've talked about this, like even though we might not get episode 2 of What If Zombies, it feels like we are going to get some connectivity some point in this show. I mean, what, we have 4 episodes left, I think.
And we know T'Challa, I think, is in 3 out of those 4, or
Well, he was
2
in
out of
this
those
one,
4.
so I guess that this
Right.
was one of them, right? So 2 more.
Okay. Was it 4 total or 4 more after the first one?
Ooh, I don't remember.
Regardless, we know T'Challa is going to be in a couple of the episodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does seem like we're primed, because you do kind of wonder, how do you change up the back half of the season and build towards something. So it seems like it would be interesting to have a continuation in some way.
Yeah, and we know we're seeing a version of Captain Carter again and a version of Doctor Strange again. If it's the same ones we've already visited with, we don't know necessarily, but they have been in some trailer footage that wasn't in
Right.
either of their episodes that we've seen. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe this everything builds to some moment where the Watcher does intervene and kind of plucks these people out to deal with some threat or something. Maybe the tentacle
Well,
monster.
you have to wonder what the threat would be, because their threats have been pretty
Right.
dire. I mean, like literal universe-ending threats.
Right. I think it would have to be like a multiversal threat. So, which again, maybe
Yeah.
the tentacle monster that could, maybe consume everything. And so maybe that's reason enough to step in. I don't know.
Yeah. Tentacle monster. Stephen Strange is up there for me, or Dark Strange.
Yeah.
And then I'd put Kang up there as well.
Yeah. That would be cool if we already got to see another version of him.
Do you think we'd see a Doctor Doom or Galactus as a threat that'd be worthy of this?
I feel like
Getting involved?
I think that would be awesome. And I think like that I think those could be multiversal threats, but I don't know if they would. I mean, I don't know if they would introduce them this way, but I mean, why not? I guess.
People said the same thing about Kang, though, and
Yeah,
Loki, was they're not going to
that's true.
introduce such a major, I mean, the Thanos level villain on a Disney Plus show. It's a little different, I agree, with the animated series, but for me, I mean, all bets are off in the sense of who knows where we go from here.
Yeah, that's one thing I wondered though, is for this zombie universe, like, is it gonna eventually get to Galactus? Are we gonna have like a zombie Galactus in that universe? And like, what would that look like? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I actually wanted to get your thoughts on this. So we see the episode ends with zombie Thanos, right? And he's almost got the full gauntlet. What and we, as we talked about, they still retain like their faculties. They can use their
Yeah.
equipment. He's clearly still on the quest. Like, what
Yeah.
is he gonna do when he gets
What's it
it?
going to
Like,
snap for?
yeah,
Yeah.
like what's he gonna use the snap for?
So part of me wonders, are they just kind of doing whatever, like, rote memorizations and printed on like their nerves? Like Iron Man knows how to use his blaster because it's familiar. It's in his DNA, so to speak.
Yeah,
Um, so in the same way, I wonder if Thanos, even though he's a zombie, still has this mission to eliminate half the life in the universe. So I could see that happening. I don't know if zombies count for that. And it's just like whatever remains, like now you're even more screwed. Would also wonder, would he wish for not being a zombie anymore? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's that for me, that's the only potential interesting plot thread for a follow-up episode.
and I mean, what if he wishes for double the life because they need food? Like,
Would it? Oh yeah, good point. Well, in this
like,
universe also, we don't know. I mean, is it like 28 Days Later where they can eventually starve to death? Or is it, I can't think of another movie, but where they basically are around for forever,
yeah.
despite, desiring human flesh.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's really interesting, and I wonder what he would use that for. Um, so that's another reason that I would love to see an episode two. But I'd honestly love to
The,
see an episode two for any of these.
the
To be
thing that's a
real,
bit interesting, to be honest, is we know the Mind Stone is able to sort of pacify and repulse the zombies.
yeah,
So when he puts it into his gauntlet and
mm.
activates it, what is that going to do?
Yeah. Will he even be able to get near it?
Well, we know that it doesn't seem to work outside of Vision.
That's
Because
true.
Vision takes it out all, but then again, he's an android that's projecting whatever that frequency is. So maybe like person to person, maybe it's effective.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does make you wonder, what does that look like? Which, by the way, that's my other issue with this episode is you have the guy who has the answer for the zombies, and the dude just turns it off. I'm like, bro, why kill yourself? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I get this Vision's just not allowed to live, no matter what story
I
it
know,
is,
right?
no matter what happens, he must die. It's an absolute point, apparently.
Yeah, he's
But
the Sean Bean of the Marvel universe.
yes, and I mean, so he kills himself, but Scarlet Witch is still alive, and like the Hulk's not gonna kill her. So like,
And we
what's she
had
gonna do?
was it Kevin Feige? I mean, who said it that of who's the strongest Marvel hero? Someone said it is the Scarlet Witch, and that she was going to kill Thanos before he ordered the
Yeah, the
danger close bombardment on all of them.
yeah. So I mean, I really liked that aspect of the episode because I did not see it coming. Like I didn't see Vision being the one that the signal was coming from, and I definitely didn't see like him, you know, luring people to their death to feed her to like contain her. But yeah, that is like a terrifying thought, like a zombie Scarlet Witch that still has her powers.
Yeah, who's empowered basically by, or he's being enabled by, you know, basically what Ultron wanted to become, Vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was really wild. Like the whole um, I'm sorry it was you, but I brought you here. Okay, never mind. I didn't mean to do this. I'm dead now. That was a little annoying. And then also Hope is a massive giant and she's turning into a zombie. Why wouldn't she like, hey, shoot me in the head as I'm
Yeah, I
falling
thought
or
the same
something?
thing. I
Like,
was like, y'all are about to have to deal with a giant zombie here in a
yeah,
minute.
I'm like, what's going on with this? So I don't know. It was death by a thousand cuts for me on this episode. Just so many things I was annoyed at. I was like, come on.
Well, that's
But
fair.
Scarlet Witch was cool. So
It was. So
and I love the whole Kurt's like, baby what was it? Baba
the
Yaga
Baba
or
Yaga, yeah.
yeah, that whole thing. And then like the door opening and him just getting like sucked in. Like
Mm,
some of the moments were really cool. I felt bad for Okoye, but you know.
yeah, a little rough. And one other thing I at least wanted to mention that I thought was awesome was the whole Peter with the cloak of levitation for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And like at one point he's like, it doesn't really fit, and Hope's like, well, you'll grow into it, which seems like this universe is probably pretty doomed, but it would be cool if like in that universe Spider-Man became like also a sorcerer, because like that would be
Yeah.
something to deal with.
It also seems like maybe Bucky is still alive at the end of
Yeah,
it. He
I
gets
mean,
thrown, but we know the
presumably.
rules in horror movies. If you don't die on camera, you're okay.
That's right.
And Hulk might actually still be okay as well.
Yeah, so again, these are, I mean, ep 2, get some closure on these things. Probably not, but it'd be cool.
I'm okay to move on from it. So,
Fair enough.
but yeah, 4 episodes left, and it'll be interesting to see where we go from here.
Yeah. All right. So I know we know your thoughts on it, but did you still like it at all? Like, did you enjoy it, or was it like you?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed the episode. It, it I'm it's it's like saying your least favorite pizza.
Right.
It's like it's still pizza. I mean, you're
Right.
gonna love it and enjoy it, and like that was delicious.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, What If as a show is really great. I had zero expectations, and it's been surprisingly very good.
Yeah.
I would just put this of the goodness. I would probably put this as my least favorite. Either
Okay.
this one or the Captain Carter one. which I didn't dislike Captain Carter 1. It was just so formulaic compared to like the creativity of every episode that followed it.
Right.
So
that's fair.
So yeah. But I have high hopes for the remaining 4 episodes.
Me too. I can't wait to see. And I think we both have talked about this a little bit. We've kind of remained in the dark to some extent. So I have no idea what to expect for the last 4. So
yeah,
I'm interested to see.
For our people listening, you got to let us know what were your thoughts on the episode. Are you more Team Will or Team Blake on your reactions? But also, what do you expect to see for the remaining 4 episodes? Are we going to see the Watcher intervene? Are we going to see a follow-up part 2 to one of these previous episodes? Let us know your thoughts, because we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah, we would. We would. Talk to us.
So.
And then we need to do Shang-Chi, and then I actually haven't watched it yet. I wish I had, so we could maybe briefly talk about it, but I haven't. The Hawkeye trailer dropped today. Have you seen it?
You haven't seen it?
It's
really cool.
Okay. Well, okay, maybe in the next episode we could have like a little like 2-minute segment on that.
Yeah. I had pretty low expectations for it, and after seeing the trailer, I'm like, okay, I'm here for it.
Okay, nice.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited. I haven't seen the trailer, but I know what like the comic story it's based on, so I was excited for it in that regard. So I'm excited.
I was expecting it to be a movie based on the trailer, and so I'm surprised that it's going to be a series.
Oh yeah, series. So it's coming soon, man. We have so much stuff between now and the end of the year. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. December's gonna be amazing because we'll have Spider-Man. We'll have already seen the Eternals, but we'll have Spider-Man during Christmas time. We'll have Hawkeye. Probably by then we'll have a trailer for Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh, I hope so. And I think
which would be great.
Maybe the scheduling might not be set in stone, but at one point they said that like all the shows were going to be out this year. So seemingly implying that the Miss Marvel show would also be out. But maybe my information is not up to date there. So maybe that's incorrect.
Yeah, I have no idea. That's the one I've seen the least information on, other than like the casting. So.
Same here. And then
same with She-Hulk also.
Oh yeah, forgot about that, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta say this. This is not related to anything we're talking about right now. But if they don't freaking put Daredevil back in this universe, if he doesn't show up in No Way Home or She-Hulk, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah. Give him justice.
He's so good. If you guys haven't seen Daredevil, I don't even think you've seen it all. But bro,
I've only
it's
seen
so
part
good.
Of season 1, and I liked it. I just stopped watching it.
It's so good.
Yeah. Okay.
It's up there with like the best parts of the MCU.
I watched all of the Punisher.
All of what?
All of the Punisher.
This is way better than Punisher.
I'm just saying that because I know he shows up in season 2, right?
Yeah.
Of Daredevil. That's the only reason I mentioned it.
Okay.
You're like, how dare you? Season 1 of Punisher was good. Season 2 was pretty bad.
Yeah, I actually never saw season 2. I enjoyed season 1, so I just
season 1 was good. I
haven't seen season 2, but
all right, enough of this. What are we doing for our thumbnail?
Oh yeah, shoot. Should we try to do some zombie faces or something?
Sure.
I don't know what a zombie face is, but
yeah,
I guess that's just what I'm gonna go for. All right.
You
ready?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Dang it, we did the same thing.
It's cool. People will be like, I like that.
It's like wearing the same thing to you both show up. Well, it's like I think it's like a Scrubs episode where like he shows up, or maybe it's The Office, I can't remember, but it's like shows up with like the same like woman outfit as someone else.
Oh yeah.
He's like, one of us is gonna have to change.
What? I think it was The Office, but it might have been Scrubs. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're the Pixelists, and we appreciate you tuning in.
That's right.
Catch you later.
Till next time. Bye, y'all.